There are moms out there that might be feeling the way I am feeling. They might be scared. You know, they might not have any self-esteem or feel like they're doing the right thing or be a people pleaser and doing what, they think is best because they don't have anybody who's there by their side supporting them. What I went through and some of, the things that I went through and how God was just in all of it.
Yes.
Then they would come to realize that, don't give up. There is a place for you. You just have to find it. There are people out there for you. This church saved my daughter's life.
My name is Julia Port, and I'm the Children's Ministry Director. So it was a normal Sunday morning for me. I got to church, opened up the children's ministry. I usually attend at 8:30 or 10. I don't remember which one I was at that day, but I remember being outside after the 10 a.m. service, and I saw Ashley walking.
My name is Ashley, and I attend 539 Church. I have two boys, Aiden and Sheldon. They are 11 and 12 years old. And I am currently 5 months pregnant with a little girl. I was volunteering in the children's ministry here for the babies and the toddlers. And I was feeling very sick.
And I thought, Ashley looks like she's hurting. And I really remember thinking that. I know it's really crazy. And I just said, Ashley, are you okay? And you poured out everything to me. And I wasn't expecting anything but I'm fine.
I just remember that when you came and you talked, to me and asked me what was wrong, was I feeling good? I had really just felt like I needed somebody to talk to. So you were the first person that I told about the problems that I was having and what I was going through, being in the situation with my health, worrying about the health and worrying about the baby and things of that nature. And I really was having second thoughts about going to, Planned Parenthood. I did not want to lose another child.
I didn't know you were having second thoughts. I remember you telling me everything, and I was like, how do I tell her that there's other options? But I didn't feel like it was the right time. And when you were telling me all the things that you were feeling about being afraid to care for another child when you have two boys and being so sick that you couldn't work anymore, I could hear your fear almost, which you say you had now, and I didn't know because you didn't say it, but it was like you were trying to convince not just me that you were doing the right thing, but you were trying to convince yourself that this was the best thing to do, but you knew maybe it wasn't.
I had just found out that there was just a lot of information that wasn't adding up whenever I went to Planned Parenthood. I had trusted my doctor and I was afraid. I had a lot of fear and I was super sick. They wouldn't give me medication. They wouldn't help me in any way as far as the sickness that I was undergoing. They had went into some of my past medical history and told me that I was having certain flare-ups, that I would need certain removals and things like that, which would detriment the pregnancy. And it just, overall, it has seemed like the right choice to terminate the pregnancy. And I just was so on the fence because I felt so guilty about it. I also felt like I wasn't sure that I wanted to do it. I felt fear, like if I did choose to keep the baby, what was going to happen? Was I going to be able to carry the baby? As sick as I was I going to be able to financially do it, mentally do it, just everything all in one? I just felt like there wasn't enough of me to go around. I felt like I did not have a good support system. I was not close with my family, and I just did not feel like if I ended up going through with this pregnancy that I would be enough or have enough. I felt like I wouldn't be able to give the baby what they needed. I thought that if I terminated the pregnancy, that I would be able to handle, my life and be able to give of myself more evenly to my other children. I know at the time that me and the father, we had been separated for quite a while. And it was a new coming together after being together for about 6 or 7 years. So it was a shock. And once the pregnancy happened, things went from being really good between me and Dad to kind of going sour a little bit. We were having disagreements, and I was afraid that if I chose to have this baby, I would be doing it alone.
So I went upstairs looking for Mike, and I was feeling a little unsettled from the things Ashley just shared with me, and I wanted to talk to someone about it. And I ran into Mike, which doesn't always happen on a Sunday, so I'm glad I did. And I said, I need to talk to you about something, maybe like at staff meeting on Tuesday. And he said, well, is it life or death? Which is a weird question to ask, because why would he assume it was life or death? And I said, yeah, actually it is life or death. And I told him right then everything that Ashley shared with me.
So I got done preaching in a service, and I had stepped down, and Julia, after the 11:30, was kind of distraught, and she said, hey, I need to talk to you about one of our volunteers. So she explained to me what was going on with one of her volunteers, which was Ashley. She just expressed, hey, it was a heavy topic that she had to leave for that Sunday because she was just so sick. She was scheduled to have an abortion that following week because of a communication with a doctor that she, didn't know if it was her life or the baby's life.
Then I went back downstairs, and after church was finished, we were cleaning up, and we found a phone in the preschool room. And I've never had a phone left behind. I texted each one of my volunteers thinking whoever it was, my name will show up on their phone. And when I texted Ashley, my name showed up, and it was Ashley's phone.
On that Monday, I was here at the church, and I was honestly just waiting and hoping that Ashley was going to show up at some point to get her phone, just to have a conversation with her and also just ask some questions. I was getting ready to leave, actually. It was around lunchtime. I was getting ready to walk out the door, but I just kept waiting a few more minutes. I didn't really know. I'm like, okay. Right around that time, I heard her come into our building, and we got her phone, and I was waiting to see if she would say anything, and I just said, hey, do you need to talk? Do you want to? And she said yes.
I had no idea that Pastor Mike was going to be here. He greeted me and helped me find the phone. And I remember him asking me, if I was okay, how I was doing, if there was anything I'd like to talk, to him about, or had anything on my mind that I'd like to talk about. We continued in his office talking, and he told me that he knew, everything that was going on.
Came to the realization, she did, that this was a decision that she was about to make that she didn't want to make. She kind of felt pressured from some outside circumstances and didn't know how she could, afford this or pull this off or whatever the case is. And so we sat in my office for a while, and we cried and prayed and walked with her in that. And all I asked her was, would she be willing to go to Pregnancy Solutions with Julia?
I remember when Pastor Mike asked me if I wanted a second opinion, that he knew, somebody that would be willing to help me. And I decided to go with that rather than Planned Parenthood. And it was such a last-minute thing. It was a last-minute decision, but I felt like there was something in me fighting to keep this baby.
And I had no idea that I would have the privilege of going with you. And so when he said, hey, Ashley wants to go get an ultrasound tomorrow at this place instead of Planned Parenthood, and she wants you to go, I was so excited. And my husband knew about our interaction Sunday, and we were praying for you. And I just was over the moon that the conversation went so well, and that you were willing to go to this other place instead. When I picked you up, you were a completely different person on Tuesday morning than the person I spoke to on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I was very excited, and I just remember when I seen my baby on the screen, everything told me that I made the right decision, because I realized that everything I was being told by the other doctors wasn't even true. My baby looked just fine. They said the heartbeat was fine. They were super healthy. Yes, morning sickness because, of how soon, I was for conception is, can be normal. But that I just kept telling myself, it's worth it. Even if I have to be sick for 9 months, it's worth it.
I didn't know they would let me go in, or that you wanted me to go in with you. And I'm not just making this up, but the way that you were looking at that screen was like, I've never seen a mom look at something like that. It was like your every doubt in your mind went away. You were just like so excited and elated, and you were just watching this itty bitty bean kicking, and it had 2 legs and 2 arms, and it was so active. And even the ultrasound tech was saying, wow, babies this young don't always move this much. And we just got a whole little show.
Yeah, I remember that, and I kept thinking about my younger son because he's so hyper. And Sheldon, he never stops bouncing ever. And that's just like, he was the first thing I thought of when I looked at the little baby. When I know that I hear a lot about people debating and stuff like that, between life or whether, a baby deserves, to be considered alive at a certain point or whatever. But that just proves to me that even in 9 weeks, my baby already had a full set of arms. I had legs, everything was moving around.
They took us into like another room, and it had all the babies of different ages in utero, and you picked up the 10-week-old baby and you were holding it, and you were just staring at it for a long time. And I was staring at you because it was such a beautiful thing to see you holding this little baby. And you looked up at me and you said, they lied to me. And you said, I did not think that this was a baby. I was under the impression that what I had was still cells.
Something that's important for us as a church is that we don't just want to have a pro-birth message. We want to have a pro-life ministry, meaning we're coming alongside. We're more than just talking about it, but we really want to carry burdens and help people in action, because it always gets complicated for people. We know that God cares about people, and we want to do the very same thing that we care for Ashley and this baby along the way.
Had it not been for that meeting with Pastor Mike and the conversation that we had, and me having so much of that fear, so much of the regret, so much of the guilt, I feel like I wouldn't have gone through, with keeping my baby. So I am having my first baby girl. Her name is going to be Lily Lee Gusky. She is due January 15th. I'm just, I'm so excited to welcome my baby girl into this world.